The Spurs take on the Rockets tonight. Let's talk about that game and then ask the big question: should he just embrace being the new face of the NBA?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're doing the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. As always, I'm glad to have you all back. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts: iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. Go subscribe, become an everydayer. Join the NBA Dayer Club at lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Go sign up right now. More on that later. And what are we talking about today? We're going to be looking at tonight's game, Spurs-Rockets. Those pesky Rockets, man. I wonder if Spurs fans consider the Rockets still a current rival. You know what I mean? We should ask them later down the road. And then we're going to be asking if Wemby should embrace being the face of the league. Ant Edwards and Wemby had a tremendous face-off recently in San Antonio. Ant dropping 55, Wemby dropping 30+. Ant pretty much said, nah, I'm good. But what about Wemby? All right, let's talk about that and more. Let's go to bring in our guest, everybody. He is back. Join us via audio, Mr. Rudy Campos of Box Score Studio. He is on next at Box Score Studio. Rudy, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me back again.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, we know you're a busy man. Let's dive into it. You know what, let's take care of the game today. All right, Rockets Spurs today in Houston, interstate rivals. And you know what? Are the Rockets still a current rival with the Spurs?
I think any team, Texas-wise, Dallas or Houston, it's always going to be a rivalry. You want to be the best team in Texas, so no matter where it is, it's always, and no matter how good or bad the teams are, it's always going to be a rivalry.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get into our keys of the game. I got a little graphic for us here. Ready? Here are my 3 keys of the Spurs game. Close game composure is number 1 for me. So why did I bring that up? Well, did you know the Spurs and Rockets in the last 3 meetings have all had double-digit performances? All right. So usually either team tends to kind of explode and just demolish the other side pretty easily late in the game. But here's the thing. Houston is 2-1 versus Spurs in those situations. So again, the last 3 minutes all have been just blowouts. All right. And I bring up late game composure because we've seen in the Spurs after halftime, it's creeping back up. They get smacked up across the head or they blow their double figure lead. So I need that second half late game composure for the Spurs versus Houston if that scenario plays out. Key number 2, Houston's offense is one of the best in the NBA. Yeah, they drop buckets. They're averaging close to about 127, 128 points per game. That's good for like nearly tops in the NBA. Spurs defense has to be on point. And finally, Rudy, my last key to the game is defend the 3. My goodness. All right, so we look at the Rockets shooting percentage from deep. It's really, really good, Rudy. They are right now averaging, I got it right here, nearly 43% shooting from the 3 line. That's good for one of the best, if not the best, in the NBA. And, well, Rudy, we know what the Spurs do. They struggle defending from 3. Take a look at those keys to victory. Rudy, what do you got?
Yeah, I like all 3 keys to victory, especially number 3, defend the 3, because one of my keys was basically to run their shooters off of the 3-point line, kind of get them to go drive to the basket, where they're going to meet guys like Cornette and Victor, at the basket and at the rim. So it's not so much run them off the 3-point range. It's kind of limit the opportunities in the attempts from the 3-point range, only because Houston is one of the better 3-point shooting teams in the league. The other part of my key to victory, Jeff, is they really need to play bully ball. And I think that's what kind of gets a team like Houston, who's one of the best scoring teams in the league, kind of give them a little fits. Kind of what you saw them do against OKC the first couple of times. They kind of bullied them around. They played really aggressive. And you got to do something like that with Kevin Durant, kind of throw him off his game a little bit, kind of not so much rough him up, but just make it very tough for him. When you're defend him up close, just make it a little bit difficult for him to get his shot off. And it's just going to come down to defense. And when you said about the composure part, I like that as well, the close game composure. Let me take it a step further. It's going to be a key to victory every single game, and that is that second half composure coming out of the locker room. The biggest thing is winning that third quarter. I mean, you just saw it recently with
Yeah.
Minnesota again. You know, they were scoring the Spurs, outscoring Spurs 40-27 in that last game with Minnesota. Almost blew that lead at the end of the game. So yeah, it's composure coming out of the locker room,
Hmm.
not letting your foot off the gas, keeping your foot on the pedal, and just again playing aggressive, being aggressive. And yeah, those are my keys right there.
Yeah, a quick update here. The Rockets actually sixth in the NBA. Again, top 10 team in 3-point field goal percentage at 37%. So they definitely can knock it down. Diving a little deeper here, I mean, Rockets, not only can they score the three ball, they can also just grab those rebounds. Right now, they're number one in the NBA in 49.2 rebounds per game. Guess who's number two in the NBA? The Spurs,
Yeah.
40.7. So these two teams love to control the boards. So it could be a battle of the boards tonight in San Antonio. I mean, overall, I mean, this is shaping up to be a good game. You know, Houston kind of started off the season a little tepid. You know, they were good, but not great. They're starting to come around a little bit. Now, the Spurs and the Rockets, they already met once this season with the Spurs beating them. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, you dive deeper here. Look at the Spurs. Currently, they're eighth in the NBA in points per game at 117.8. The Rockets are at 117.1. So I think it's
Very even.
the defensive side, Rudy. I think it is.
Yeah, it's a very evenly matchup for the
Hmm.
Spurs and Rockets. And, you know, it's nothing new. I mean, when these two teams are good, they're actually relatively very good, especially against
Yeah.
each other. And, you know, that's the thing that we have to realize is this is a game where it's going to be a close game. I don't expect a blowout either side of the court. I think it's going to be back and forth. It's going to come down
Hmm.
to probably who has the last couple of possessions in the game. Of course, you know, we all know how much of a sniper Kevin Durant is. So hopefully
Hmm.
that the Spurs have at least a 4 or 5 point lead going to the last couple of seconds of the game would be beneficial. But, you know, it's a team, you know, that I would feel more confident if we've got Devin Vassell playing in this
Hmm.
game. I would feel a lot more confident to take the Spurs. I'm not saying I'm not going to take them, but one key also to kind of hit on when it comes to the Houston Rockets is I'm going to ask you this. Are we going to see better guard play or do we need to see better guard play from San Antonio? Because this is a game where I think you could see Stephon Castle kind of break out a little bit. He's been struggling lately, but
Hmm.
this could be a really good breakout game and maybe a consistency type of game for De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper. But do you think we need to see better guard play from San Antonio in order to get the Spurs over the hill to get this
Oh,
victory?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Wemby. He is their number one threat on both ends of the court, but the guards arguably can be collectively the number two threat on this roster. And they've sputtered a bit. There's signs that they're coming back to life of late. You know, Fox, by the way, who quietly has been a force of late. I don't know if you noticed that, but heading
Yeah,
into last night's game or yesterday's game versus Utah, 5 straight games of double figure scoring. You know, this month of January, he's averaging his best month in rebounding, nearly about 5.6, 5.7. So he's quietly been a force. And of course, Harper, look, you give him a little pass. You know, he's a rookie. He's hitting the rookie wall right now. He's seemingly starting to come out of it already. So that's a good sign.
mhm.
But no, they need Castle. For me, with Castle, he's got to stay out of foul trouble. He fouled out versus who was it, Minnesota? Yeah. And he's picking up these real ticky-tack calls. I like the aggressiveness out of him, but sometimes I think he's trying to just do too much on the court. But no, yeah, I think collectively the guards are the second best weapon for the Spurs. They need to get going, not just Houston, but for the rest of the season. All right, Rudy, how do you see tonight's game panning out? The Spurs are coming off a game last night versus the Jazz. They are, let me see if I can get it here. They are 5-2 in the second game of a back-to-back. So how do you see it going down?
I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I think if Devin Vassell was actually playing, I would
Mm-hmm.
probably pick the Spurs handedly in this game. Both teams are matched up really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a really good game. I'm going to give the edge probably to Houston on this one.
Mm-hmm.
They've been scoring the ball really, really well, shooting the ball, you know, darn near lights out recently. So I think this is a game where we might see Houston maybe win here, and I'm taking probably a 112-108 type of victory for Houston.
Yeah.
But again, wouldn't surprise me if the Spurs won, but for my pick, I'm going to take Houston in this one.
I'm going with San Antonio here. The Spurs already beat them once this season. As a matter of fact, Ime Udoka in that game afterwards said that Spurs punked them. I think the Spurs get up for
That's an
big.
X factor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think the Spurs get up for big games. We've seen it. Christmas Day game versus Thunder, bright lights. They got up. They got the win. Seen OKC 2 other times, beating them 3 straight. They got up for that win. I like this team. They tend to play down to their opponents. That's a big problem, but they also play up to their big opponents. So I like that as well. I'm going to go with San Antonio getting the W tonight in Houston. All right, there's your quick Spurs-Rockets preview. When we get back, Wemby. Yeah, we'll put him in focus here. Should he just embrace being the face of the NBA? More on that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
Hey, let's talk about Quo. New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look to the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is just one of the quickest upgrades you can make. And that is why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one spot, you're just not just working cleaner. You're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Your whole team can call and text from one shared business number so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees full conversation threads, which makes replies faster and more personal. It works right from your phone or computer, and you can even keep your existing number and Quo smart AI tools automatically log calls, summarize conversations, and highlight next steps so details never slip through the crack. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses from solo operators to growing teams. Make this a year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. Access to ad-free audio feed for Locked On Spurs, compatible with Apple's Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat for just listeners of this show, and, well, hanging out with a lot of other fans on Discord. You want to go to this website right now, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Go there right now, or just tap the link in the show notes to learn more.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Mr. Rudy Campos with Box Score Studio. He's on X at Box Score Studio. More on that later. You're going to want to subscribe ASAP. Hey, Rudy, face of the league, Mr. Wembanyama.
I thought you were talking about me.
Oh, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah, he ain't going to supplant you. You're going to be the new logo. You're going to replace Jerry West.
They don't have enough space on the screen to put my big body on there.
Hey, that's true, right? That is Jerry West, right? There's some people who think it isn't, but that's him, right?
That is Jerry West. Yeah, he's the logo.
He always downplayed it. Didn't he downplay it a bit?
It's not so much downplayed. He just didn't really want the recognition, Yes, I'm the face. I'm the face. I'm the logo, but it's like, it is kind of is what it is.
Yeah, well, that's a great segue here because we're talking about somebody who is kind of on the fence about being the face of the NBA. He didn't fully embrace it, but let's get into it. So recently, the Spurs and Wolves had himself a great game in San Antonio. It was tremendous. Wemby with 39 points in that game. Ant just went off, 55 points. It was a nip and tuck game towards the end, and the Spurs nearly blew it though. They blew a 20-something point lead on them, but they held on to win, so that's all that matters. But nevertheless, after the game, obviously, it was the Wemby and Edwards battle that everybody was talking about. When Wemby hits a three, and hits a three. Ant does this, Wemby does this. It really came down to the stars, and we got themselves a show. But afterwards, and I was in the locker room with Minnesota side, when Ant Edwards was asked, hey, what about the face of the league, man? Do you want it? You think it should be? Hey, this is going to be your league soon. It's going to be Wemby's league soon. It's going to be you guys carrying the torch. And Ant Edwards, Rudy, was very clear that he doesn't want it, that he's good, that he's okay. He's like, give it to Wemby. I don't care. I just want to hoop. And then we asked why. He told us, well, I don't want that pressure. You know, I just want to go out there and play ball. You know, I don't want all that comes with it. He goes, Wemby can have it. I'm good. You know, yay, you know, moving on. So Wemby was asked about that, about being the face of the NBA and that Ant Edwards passing on it. And Wemby didn't completely embrace it. You know, he said in the past that he's willing to do that. But again, many feel, Rudy, that it's not there yet. I disagree. Rudy, should he just embrace being the face of the NBA? We see LeBron James already exiting out. You know, his best years are behind him. He's still playing at a good level, but not at the LeBron James level we saw. Kevin Durant, same thing. Steph Curry still playing at a high level, but we know his days are numbered. The baton has to be torched and lit up and passed to the next generation, and that's where Wemby comes in. We'll start off with you, Rudy. You've been kind of very clear. You're not ready, and you're not there to say, yeah, Wemby should be the face of the NBA.
Well, so if you look at former faces of the NBA, I mean, we can go 80s. You're talking about, you know, Bird and Magic coming in,
Yeah.
and then you have Michael Jordan, obviously the longtime face of the league. LeBron, you know, again, face of the league, LeBron, and it comes down to one common factor, and for me, it's winning, and that's something that he has really yet to do up until this season. So.
Mhm.
I get the stats are there, and I get, you know, he's doing, you know, remarkable things in the league and, you know, things that people haven't really seen before, all this stuff. But it comes down to winning. As soon as he starts winning a little bit more, gets into the playoffs, and starts really making a name for himself, and his career starts to take off, that's for me when you can start saying face of the league. Now, if he wants to take on the face of the league, you know, genre right now and say, yeah, I'm willing to be the face of the league, I have no issues with that at all. To me, you know, the face of the league isn't up to a player. It's up to the fans, you know, to decide who the face of the league of the NBA is going to be. I mean, you're not going to pinpoint one person and say, well, you are the next person that we're going to be following in the NBA. No, it's the fans who decide that. Fans collectively said Michael Jordan's face of the league. They've collectively said LeBron James' face of the league. You know, these days you have fans that say, well, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the face of the NBA right now. He's got a title. He's got MVPs. You know, he's got all these, you know, this hardware. So to me, to be considered the face of the league, it's, you know, obviously it's popularity, it's fan favorite, which is what he has. But I also have to look at what have you accomplished so far. And again, he just started his career. So he's just experiencing a winning culture and a winning environment. Could he be the face of the league at the end of the season? You know, if they have a nice little playoff run. Yeah, I mean, he really could. But as of right now, I don't really have him too much as face of the league. I still got guys like Giannis who are there. I mean, even boring guys that people consider is like Nikola Jokić, who for me is, you know, the best player in the league, period. And he should be the face of the league, you know, no matter what. But again, it's a fan favorite thing. It's a popularity thing. So if he wants to embrace it and he feels like he is right now, means it's up to him to decide.
You don't surprised that Ant said that he doesn't want it? That he's good?
No, again, he can say he doesn't want it, but if he turns into, you know, the player that a lot of people are expecting him to be, he's not going to have an opportunity to deny it or to say, I don't want it. Again, it's something that media, it's something that fans are going to kind of navigate towards and say, well, you're the most exciting player of the league. You know, hey, you want a title in Minnesota. You want an MVP. You are the face of the league. Everybody looks at you and says, hey, you are the guy we're paying money to see. So, again, a player, to me, doesn't have the opportunity to say no. It's just decided by whatever, you know, social media and everybody else decides who that player is going to be.
Yeah. There is an argument why Wemby should not be, at least not right now. You know, the face of the NBA. I disagree. I think he is more than that in a few seconds. But does that tie into your thoughts about him being generational, how much you despise that word? You feel that Wemby is not generational, at least not yet.
So, yeah, and, you know, the generational talk it's always fun for me because, you know, generational, it's crazy for me because you have to have these stats that just jump out that we've never seen before. So what he does on the court, yeah, we've never seen a 7'4", 7'5" guy do on the court. But when you take that away and you put stats in there, we've seen these stats before. So what part of generational, is he? Is it just because of what he does on the court? Yeah, I'll give you that much. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about generational talent, I mentioned him before. David Robinson pretty much blew all of Wemby's rookie numbers away
Mm-hmm.
in his rookie season, with the exception of 3-point shooting, obviously. But does that make David Robinson generational? Well, not necessarily. He was generational because he became a big man that was kind of, that guard-esque
Yeah.
type of big
Ahead of
man.
his time. Yeah.
Yeah, way ahead of his time. So in a sense, it could be generational. But for Wemby being generational, it's not the same that he can't be. As I've always said, he could turn out to be generational. Just look at Joker. It took him a
Mm-hmm.
little while before we started thinking, well, he's generational. Big man averaging a triple double for multiple seasons. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it takes a little bit of time, but for right now, no, I can't consider him generational, and I'll stand by that.
All right. All right. There's Rudy saying that Wemby is not quite there yet. I disagree. I think he's there. We'll talk about that coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150, all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today.
All right. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs. We're talking about Wemby. And should he just already embrace that he is the face of the NBA? Recall after that thrilling Minnesota-San Antonio game in San Antonio, where Ant and Wemby had themselves a battle. Afterwards, Ant was saying, like, no, I'm good. I don't want it. Wemby can have it. I just want to hoop. And then Wemby asked the same question, and he was kind of like, all right, it's cool. It needs to happen, and it'll happen. Now, he said in the past that he's okay with being the face of the NBA, and he would embrace it. But should he already be it right now? And Rudy is saying no, Wemby's not there yet. I'm saying yes, he is there already. One, he's box office. He's box office. He brings in the people. He brings in the ticket sales. Mm-hmm. Road games, home games, people want to see the Wemby show. So for me, if I'm looking at my checklist, check, good. Putting up the numbers, giving those shows. Yes, he has proven this year he can put on big shows for the crowd. What we saw versus Minnesota and San Antonio, that's a good example. 3, he's international. He's international. He's popular in the United States. He's popular in France. He's popular globally. And the NBA is leaning towards a global sport. You can't get more global than a French freak of a guy on the court than Victor Wembanyama. That's another check on my box. Rudy, you talked about popularity. I think he is already popular. You look at the fan voting for the upcoming All-Star game, he's top 10. He's top 5. He's already in there getting a lot of votes, like with Joker and Ant Edwards and LeBron, and the list goes on and on. And then what I mentioned earlier, Rudy, was that you're seeing some of the old guard already starting to fade out already. LeBron is not LeBron. He's still good, but not great, as we saw. And of course, KD, Curry, then continuing on and on. I look at other factors in this situation. He's still young. The NBA is changing. More players in his build are starting to come on the scene. Look at Chet Holmgren. I believe there's a few other prospects in the upcoming drafts that are in that mold. So he started this trend. Overall, I think he is the face of the NBA right now. Jersey sales, he ranks up there. You look at all those common factors, and yeah, I feel, Rudy, that the fans have already anointed him as a face of the NBA. You say Wemby, people already know who you're talking about and what sport you're talking about. You could be not a fan of the NBA. You could just say, hey, you know who that Wemby guy? Oh yeah, that tall guy, plays basketball. I think that's what you would get. So yeah, I think he is already the NBA's face, and he should embrace it already now. What do you think about that, Rudy?
Oh God, I don't know if I'll ever be invited back on Lockdown again.
Nah, yes, he will. Yes, he will. Stop.
I'm gonna pop a lot of your balloons that you had there because you said top 10 in All-Star voting. I mean, it's okay. It's good to have him as top 10 All-Star voting, but you would be a face of the league, most of the time is top 3, top 2. Remember we mentioned guys earlier who were considered face of the league. And, you're talking about Jordan and all these guys, LeBron, they were always top 1 or 2 in All-Star voting. Point wise, he's had great games. There's no doubt about it. But, look back, you can count maybe not as many, but quite a few games where he was at 10 points, 9 rebounds. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. He has a 39 points and 6 blocks or 10 rebound games, but then he got to 12 points, to 13 points and 8 rebounds and 2 block games. So stat wise, I mean, that's where we got to put is, are we only focusing on the games where he's having these awesome stats and everything else and not overlooking the other games that he doesn't have it. So then you mentioned global. He is global. Everybody knows Wemby, but I mean, again, you can go up to a person and say, hey, you know who Giannis Antetokounmpo is, Greek freak. Oh, yeah, NBA. He's plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think there's a lot of, balloons that could be popped on that side of your side of it. But I get what you're saying. I mean, the biggest factor is he's a young guy. He's a very young player. So will he be the face of the NBA? I think in time he will be. He will be in time. At this very moment, the only way people will make him the face of the NBA is if you start to see him doing phenomenal, extremely beyond average, type of stuff. And he starts to get the Spurs into that next tier where you're talking about OKC, you're talking about, the Denver Nugget type things where they're starting to get NBA finals and this and that. So again, I see your point on him being the face of the league. I'm not going to deny that everything you said, but another person can come in after you and I and say, well, this balloon's popped because of this. This balloon's popped because of this. And before you know it, it's like, well, we've only got a couple of reasons why he could be. So again, it's for the fans to decide. If the fans want to decide that he's the face of the league, then so be it. And I'm talking fans outside of 210, outside of San Antonio. Yeah. It's got to be, nationally, internationally to make him the face of the league. So that's just the way I feel on it, man.
Oh, man, Rudy, I hear some of your points in your needles when you're popping the balloons. But again, I say, he is popular. I mean, look at the fan voting, not just this year, but past year.
But he is popular.
He is.
Deny that. I didn't deny that.
But
he's popular.
But again, if you look at the NBA and where it's trending to, I mean, there's rumblings that it wants to be an international league. You hear about that they want to have a league, in Europe. You can't tell me he will not be a big part of that marketing push. He would be huge. But you're right. This chat does remind me. You mentioned a name here that I'm, Joker. Why does he remind me of Tim Duncan so much in that aspect, where Tim Duncan should have been the face of the NBA because of what he did on the court, and he was, but he wasn't because of Shaq and Kobe, those other kind of players. But if the NBA needed a poster child for the prototypical pro player, it's Duncan, and it's kind of like what you're looking at with Joker. If the NBA wants a face of the league, how about an international guy who gets it done on the court, racks up titles, racks up MVPs, and you don't really see them put Joker front and center, do you?
No, and that's exactly a great comparison when it comes to Tim Duncan and the Joker. I mean, methodically and quietly, they get things done. He won a title. He's probably going to win a couple more titles, I think, before he's actually all said and done. MVPs, I mean, you're talking about a guy that easily could have won like 3-4 MVPs in a row. I mean, had it not been for some voting, the guy has just been quietly becoming one of the all-time greatest centers of in NBA history. And talking to a couple of former NBA guys, I mentioned to them, and they kind of could understood. At the end of the day, if he continues to rack up, awards and maybe he needs maybe a couple more NBA titles, you can put him up there the likes of Kareem and maybe Bill Russell type, because
interesting, yeah,
it's the domination that he's had, and the quietness and the Tim Duncan type of movements that he does. It just makes his game so much bigger. And that's the thing, is international wise, Wemby is the new young gun, but you can sell the international game on so many levels. Giannis, obviously in Greece, Wemby,
Luka,
France,
Doncic,
Nikola, Doncic is another one.
Shai
even
Gilgeous,
SGA is Canadian, Canada. So there's so many ways to sell the international game. But Wemby's there. He's there. He's just not. He has his foot in the door. I don't think he's quite into the room yet, and the door shut behind him.
Nah, he's in that room, Rudy. He's in that room. Stop being a hater, man. Stop being a hater.
I'm really not going to be able to cover the Spurs now if I do like this.
All right, we're getting Rudy off the hot seat here, man. He's sweating, man. He's like, all right, get me off, Jeff. Get me off. Real quick, I did ask Ant after the game if he thinks he could get a dunk and put Wemby on a poster. He told me he's going to try. He's going to try to get Wemby. Unfortunately, the Spurs Wolves are done for the season. They don't face each other anymore till next season. But there is still that All-Star game, Team USA versus Team World. And you can bet that Wemby's going to be on Team World and Ant's going to be on Team USA. What better stage if Ant wants to try that than the All-Star game? And Victor said he'll be ready. He'll be ready for that. Yeah, my moment went viral, though. I don't know if you caught that with the NBA and my chat. Yeah, that threw me off. I think people were contacting me saying, hey, is that you? I was like, oh, my God, that is me. Yeah, the NBA caught me talking to Wemby there. But, yeah, that was a first for me, so that was awesome. All right, what do y'all think? Is Wemby the face of the league already? Is he already there? Rudy says no. He gave you his reasons. I say yes, and I give you my reasons. Let us know on X at Box Score Studio. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Rudy, tell us about Box Score.
Yeah, Box Score Studio. You can go to YouTube, search Box Score Studio TV. You can hit that subscribe button. We're getting new subscribers daily, and we appreciate and love everybody that has subscribed and gotten us over the hump already when it comes to subscribers. So appreciate that. Talking NFL, I mean, we had some great NFL games this past weekend, and we've got the NFL Conference Championships already in the book. So we're going to be covering that this weekend, getting you guys ready. Baseball season, NBA going on, trade deadline. Will the Spurs make any moves? Only a couple of names are on the, on the board when it comes to making that move. But also, we've got a surprise NBA type of Spurs move that we're going to be looking at this weekend. The only way to get the info on that, you got to subscribe to Box Score Studio TV on YouTube.
All right, yeah. Go subscribe to Box Score Studio. Support Rudy and all that he does when it comes to the world of sports. You want to get away from Spurs for a little while, go to Box Score Studio and catch up. Rudy, as always, thank you for joining us here on Locked On Spurs. And we thank you all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Become a subscriber, become an everydayer. And speaking of everydayer, join the NBA Everydayer Club. So what is all that about? So basically, you get yourself, once you sign up, you get yourself access to a Discord channel where you can talk to other Spurs fans. What else? Oh, yeah, you get this show, Locked On Spurs, for ad-free. So that's a big plus. There we go, right there. You want to go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Make that happen. Go join right now. We'll be back tomorrow. We have a special guest on deck. You'd love to hear who is going to be talking about the Spurs. We're going to get a little different angle off the court. So look forward to that tomorrow. And again, subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. So for Mr. Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.